Welcome back to the channel, lads and ladies, and welcome to another wonderful replay sent in by Pilot. And you can see he is set up for the meta of the game with his Bush Wookiee camo and his Captain Jack-o'-lantern on the Dushka. Alrighty, let's get into his view, get into the match, turn on the UI, and see how things turn out. So, right, replay speed. Pilot is going to have a good match here, causing some quick damage to the enemy team. And if you listen, yes, that is the sound of plebs in AH-1Gs. Helicopters are one of those things in the game that have the potential to be very good or very useless. And the main problem that a helicopter has against the ground forces they face at their battle rating is that pretty much everything has anti-aircraft capability. Pilot demonstrating his ability to launch wire-guided missiles out of the barrel of his tank, almost taking down that American helicopter with the first shot, the second coming very close as well. Now, the helicopter moving above the range of his cannon, but Pilot setting himself up on a hill, taking another shot. He is a human SAM sight as he manually guides the missile into his first target. And I love how that guide on how to fire an ATGM can, oh my goodness, there's a second kill, keeps showing up even in the replays, even for experienced players. Gaijin, we get it already. We know how to guide an ATGM. Please stop telling us. 3 shots, 3 helicopters down for a massive advantage. Those are 3 players who have probably been eliminated from the match, or at the least all they can do is respawn in an SPAA or something equally useless against the cheeky-breaky Rush B powers of the Soviet ground forces. And just look at the beauty of this tank that Pilot is in. I almost called him Visky. My apologies. This is Pilot, and the Soviet MBT/medium tanks, anywhere between 7.0 and 9.0, they all sort of look the same, but they have these little things that make them stand out. Loving the snorkel setup on the back there, the add-on armor, both useful and aesthetically pleasing. All of the parts of Pilot's tank that you can see behind the bushes are really sleek, and I just love the low profile of these Soviet MBTs, which is just another reason that I'm surprised I haven't really gotten into playing Soviet tanks myself. I guess there's just too much going on for me in the American tree, and the way it's been with War Thunder, they add so many high-tier vehicles that if you're gonna research things, you kind of have to play the game all the time, which I don't have time to do, or pick what you're gonna research, and I suppose I've chosen the American tree. I do love my CAS, and I gotta say, I think Gaijin understands that Americans just want to fly CAS because they give us things like the AH-1G, and unfortunately they're kind of in a place where they face vehicles that can shoot them down with these. They face players that are very experienced, and just rushing in and trying to make an impact on a match early by flying low and dispersing your rockets, hoping that something sticks. Moving on. It just doesn't work. You have to play more subtly as a helicopter pilot, even at these lower tiers. And Pilot demonstrating his subtlety, going directly for the ammo rack on that very exposed American tank, and his friend in the Japanese vehicle taking the second shot, an APHE. Pilot wisely loading something that can deal damage from the side, taking down that enemy with a single shot, putting another one into him, I suppose to add insult to injury. Maybe he wasn't quite sure that was the same tank. I don't know. But with a quick 5 kills in a ridiculously brief amount of time, already in a great flanking position, using the mobility of his tank, the low profile, to get in with what I like to call a medium flank. You cut just to the sides of the main avenues of approach. You don't go all the way around the map. You go just to the side of the middle, and that's exactly what Pilot is doing, demonstrating his piloting skills even now. He's checking, and he's not quite secure going after this Magach until he can get the Coppola shot, and unfortunately that's not going to deal the damage he needs. But the Magach bounces, pops his smoke. Pilot on the aggression now, as he gets another shot. Doesn't go through the strong side armor of Magach. Now he's going to have to bounce another shot, which he successfully does with his own side armor. Magach backing into the smoke. Pilot definitely being the aggressor here. The Magach playing very defensively, but I don't know if popping smoke was honestly the best idea. Magach can beat him on the reload, but he decides to blind himself instead, giving Pilot the ability to outrun his gun traverse and get one into his side armor. If I have any piece of advice for that Magach driver, it is use your fast reload to your advantage in those close range encounters. Now, Magach is not one of those tanks you want to be in a close range engagement against those brawly Soviet MBT / medium tanks, but at that point you just gotta take what you can get. Go for that cannon breach shot, take down his gun with your heat round, and then you've got all the time in the world to peck him to death with your very good reload. Magach sits at around, 6 seconds on the reload, which is a bit faster than the T-80U, if I'm not mistaken. That is what Pilot's in today, isn't it? I'm horrible with Soviet tank name designations and tank designations at top tier in general. I just don't play high tier. And I call this top tier. I know Starfish down, trap shot, bounces into the crew compartment, blows up every dang thing inside that tank, and Pilot loads probably another APAG. Up to a quick 4 tank kills, a very nice 3 helicopter kills. He's probably eliminated 4 or 5 players from the match already, and he is demonstrating how to make an impact early. Surprisingly, the American team, or the Allied team, not sure exactly who's on their side in this battle, has done very well, and that could be down to the ability of the other players on the enemy team, their aggressiveness, and, well, anything could sway a match at high tier. Pilot now doing everything he can to secure victory from the jaws of defeat for his team, checking out that cap zone, looking for the person who's capturing. Difficult to see. It looks like they're behind one of those buildings by process of elimination. Pilot keeping his eyes in the gunner view, ready at any moment to snap a shot into a vulnerable enemy tank surface, going for side and rear shots. He's in a great flanking position, but he's also traveling through open country. He is very susceptible to being taken out here, except for the fact that he's probably advancing along a route the enemy is not likely to be observing. So this has been a great demonstration of tactical positioning, and if you take nothing else away from this, Pilot is using the mobility of his vehicle and the power from a flanking position to take down enemies with relative ease. There he is, and the M551 Sheridan just was not looking at the right place at the right time. If he had been listening, he probably would have heard Pilot's vehicle approaching from that distance. So that's really down to the Sheridan for not having the tactical awareness. Sheridan does have an incredible turret traverse, a very powerful ATGM. If that enemy had been listening to his surroundings instead of Sabaton or whatever, Pilot would have had a very different experience. Taking a shot to the rear of the turret apparently, and yet no serious damage. So, strong think on that one. Where did that shot come from? Pilot responding as though it came from the front, so that may be an issue with the replay system that made it look like it bounced off the back of his turret, and we do see fire coming from that direction. Looks like there's an enemy AA. Those boxes, will they provide soft cover for Pilot? We will find out. He is a very low profile vehicle. Peeking over those boxes, looks like a Sergeant York, judging from the amount of fire coming from that position. If Pilot can get a shot into that vehicle, it will be nice, but he doesn't really need to fear it. However, that was a main gun round of some kind. Pilot now peeking through the bushes, doing what he can, and with that rate of fire, could that be the... Oh, there's a shot into the side. He's surrounded now. Enemy tanks all over the place. The allied vehicles outnumbering him significantly, and Pilot all alone here with 5 ground kills and 3 air kills, but his team completely beaten back. And the enemies... No, that's a 40 mil. My goodness. Take him down with the disco. Oh, yes, he does. Alright, opening up with the heavy machine guns, hoping for some nice penetrations and not getting what he needs. Around APDS directly into the ammunition, does nothing other than set a fire. I like to imagine those 40 mils just kind of fizzling and creating fireworks. I don't know. But finally, a third shot into that 40 millimeter Bofors wielding American AA takes the thing down. With, of all things, I think that was a hole break, so witness the power of the hole break mechanic. It just makes no dang sense what causes a hole break these days. But Pilot gets taken down, and the match is clearly a loss, his team having been completely annihilated. The foe who brought him down, an M46 with the chicken wire. So this match has been all about positioning. Pilot did a great job of going for the win, of making a huge impact on the enemy team, but his team got completely wiped from the map. The only ones remaining, other than that heavy tank hanging out in the castle, are people who are hanging out around the back row, not engaging in the combat, playing very passively, and that's one of the things I've noticed in high tier, top tier gameplay. A lot of people play very, very passively, and that is not going to get you the win if the enemy team is both aggressive and well positioned. So Pilot doing a great job of showing tactical positioning in that match, and the enemy team inundating the battlefield, surrounding, and even against a very skilled player, having numbers on your side and getting the surround on your enemy can really make that difference. And that is a great reason to check the map. If your team is spread out, try and fill in the gaps where they are. And if your team is sitting and doing nothing, well, you're going to have to be the hero for yourself. And sometimes you're not going to be able to bring home that win, just like you saw. Pilot, great impact there, great lesson on tactical positioning, and hopefully you had a great time watching the video. Anyway guys, catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.